Alita Battle Angel is snubbed at the Oscars, not receiving any nomination for Best Picture, Best Actress, or even Visual Effects. A total snub when the Visual Effects Society, one of the premier VFX film societies out there, had Alita Battle Angel, in addition to The Lion King, leading all film nominees with 5 nominations, while Screen Rant puts it on its list of box office bombs of 2019, and you won't believe how high it makes it on this list. You're not going to be too happy. And we get James Cameron's response to the Alita haters, which isn't exactly PG-13. In this video, I do some VFX analysis of some of the other candidates that actually passed over Alita, and we take a look at some more details of the VFX work behind this remarkable movie, whether or not it actually got an Oscar nom or not, while we update you on the Alita sequel banner that's gonna fly over the Oscars. I mean, how are these VFX good? Look at this guy. It's like he's not even part of the same movie. How in the world does this get a nom while Alita does not? Like, what is this? Look at this guy's leg. It appears, his foot, then it's gone, then it's gone, then it appears again planted, and then it's gone again as he runs. This is CGI grass, that's why it looks so weird, but come on, guys. The doctor is in. What's up, guys? Doc Ito here with an Alita update. Remember to like and subscribe to the channel and hit the bell so you don't miss any of Doc Ito's free repairs. And buy those Blu-rays, baby, for the Alita fans as we continue to fight for an Alita sequel since we don't stand by in the presence of evil. And yes, I'm not too happy today as Alita was completely snubbed from any Oscar nomination, which is a real shame. I mean, at least the VFX nod, anyone with any sort of objective and logical approach to things would agree that Alita had some of the most dramatic visual effects of any movie of 2019 and essentially period, because the effects in Alita were just incredible. But first, a quick update on the petition. It's over 134,000 signatures. Make sure to sign it if you haven't. You'll find the links below for that, as well as the Alita sequel GoFundMe, which is going to put a hashtag Alita sequel banner to fly over the Oscars. Anything over the 1,810 goal will go directly to Open Bionics, which is creating prosthetics for those without arms. And if the fundraiser gets to $13,000, we actually would have enough money for the Alita fans to give a person potentially one of these hero arms, depending on how much money is raised. So it'd be fantastic if the amount raised by the Alita Army goal is enough to actually give one of these children a free arm. That would be just incredible. But getting back to the Oscars, this really bothers me. I mean, Best Picture, we knew Alita wasn't going to make it just because it doesn't have the pull, with the top nods being Joker, which had a ton of nominations, The Irishman, Ford Ferrari, Marriage Story 1917, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and so on and so forth. But from a visual effects standpoint, for Alita to not even be nominated is ridiculous. Endgame was nominated. That had fine visual effects, but it's an Avengers movie. It's really run-of-the-mill and what you expected. I was not that impressed with it. It's essentially what you'd expect. The Irishman I haven't seen yet, but from what I hear, the de-aging process was reasonable but not perfect. The Lion King had great visual effects, but it's a remake of the old one, which is fine. I mean, we can commend them for their great work. Star Wars Rise of Skywalker, yes, the effects were pretty good, not perfect, but they were fine, which is what you'd expect from a Star Wars movie. But 1917, that's my real problem. I thought the movie was fine. I did enjoy seeing it in theaters. I didn't think the story was that great, but from a cinematography standpoint, the long shots that they put in the movie were incredible. I really felt part of the action, and I thought it was great how they filmed that. However, this was not the cinematography category. This was Best Visual Effects. There already is a cinematography Oscar out there, and yes, it was nominated in 1917, and it should win because cinematography was fantastic. But these are not something that we should factor into the visual effects category. And my biggest problem with the visual effects is this scene right here, where these visual effects were actually terrible. When you see them on the big screen in 4K in theaters, they do not look good at all. And the problem stems from this. To get this long shot, a camera rig truck had to run repeatedly on this path. And as a result, there's a bunch of dirt right over here that they then had to cover up with CGI. And the CGI grass actually looks horrible. When you watch this in real time, these character actors, they're essentially floating, and there is a blur effect that they put over the CGI grass to make their legs look like they're actually there. It looks terrible. I mean, look at this guy right here. It doesn't even look like he's in the scene. The lighting, everything is off because they had to create a CGI explosion here. He looks horrible. And these guys here, I took a screenshot in 4K. They look so bad. I tweeted this out earlier. I mean, they just don't look like the part of the scene at all. And then you compare to something like this in Alita, where you had the most lifelike characters ever created compared to this. I mean, come on. You have this compared to this. And 1917 gets a nomination and Alita does not. It's not fair to anyone who's objective about this. I mean, just watch Alita wake up. Look at these skin effects. Look at every single pore, the scar on her nose, the pupils reacting to her waking up. This is incredible. And for this movie to not receive a nomination is a shame, and it's just not right. And as I mentioned, the Visual Effects Society had Alita Battle Angel with The Lion King leading all nominees with 5 nominations apiece, getting Outstanding Visual Effects in a photoreal feature, Outstanding Animated Character in a photoreal feature for Alita, Outstanding Creating Environment in a photoreal feature with Iron City, Outstanding Cinematography in a CG project, and finally, Outstanding Compositing in a feature. So those who actually work on visual effects know how much work and effort it went to and the care that Alita had from What Digital creating this amazing world, and it's a huge shame that it did not receive any nomination. It's a travesty. And if you look at the past nominees, they actually do a reasonable job at picking these awards. First Man, Blade Runner 2049, which was fantastic, Jungle Book, Ex Machina, Interstellar, which was amazing, Gravity was awesome for its time, Life of Pi, Hugo, Inception, and yes, Avatar. And Avatar was groundbreaking, and honestly, Alita is the same, they just won't admit it, and it's a darn shame. And I do think, unfortunately, and I don't like jumping on conspiracy theories, but I think James Cameron really does have a lot of haters in Hollywood. And I do think that it's going to be very tough for any movie he's associated with to win an award ever since Avatar in 2009. Which brings us over to Screen Rant, and they had a list of the 10 biggest action movie box office bombs of 2019. From the latest Rambo movie to Charlie's Angels, blah blah blah. They start with Dark Phoenix, which, yes, was a big flop. But the budget of Dark Phoenix was $200 million, even more than Alita Battle Angel. And on Screen Rant's list, it's just number 10 out of 10. But it only made $250 million worldwide, so you'll see that bias coming up in a second. Rambo, which actually was okay. I saw it in theaters. It wasn't great, but it was okay. Gemini Man, Terminator Dark Fate, unfortunately another James Cameron franchise. I did not think this was that great of a movie. I saw it in theaters. It was only okay. In the end, it also made $260 million on a $200 million budget. Again, these numbers are really bad compared to Alita, but it's not even on this list yet. So Alita is apparently a bigger bomb than these movies that made less money on bigger budgets. How does that make any sense? Charlie's Angels, Hellboy, Cold Pursuit, Midway, which actually I liked. I didn't think Midway was that bad. But it only made about $120 million, unfortunately. It should have made a lot more. But anyways, Godzilla King of the Monsters is number 2, making $385 million on the same budget as Alita. And yep, you guessed it, Alita was number 1, the biggest flop, which doesn't make any sense because it had a smaller budget and made the most money out of all of these. Alita was a significant success outside of North America. However, the domestic take all but ruined Alita's chances. With a budget of $170, it grossed $86 and 405 worldwide. Various outside publications placed the movie's break-even point around 500, and some estimates it could have lost Fox $50 million. Even if they do make a sequel, James Cameron, other action movie franchise, vehicle of 2018, looks to have an uphill struggle at the box office. Only time will tell. Ridiculous. I mean, this was from a rival studio. This is from that Variety Fair article, where in the same article, other studio sources say it's $350 million. That's break-even. Yep, here it is. So I just found it. Let's see. Executives at a rival studio estimates Alita will need to gross $500 to get out of the red. Insiders at Fox say it's closer to $350. So come on, insiders at Fox, who actually are at Fox, say it's $350, and we have rival studios saying it's $500. Who are you going to believe? Apparently $500. This is a biased article. I mean, Screen Rant, come on, shame on you. You should do better than that. Alita was not the success it should have been, but it wasn't one of the biggest bombs or number 1 biggest bomb of the year, especially when it made more money than anyone else on your list, and you're using biased numbers here. You could do a lot better than this. So I do think there's definitely an anti-James Cameron thing going on. I think the Oscar thing is part of it, and here's James's response to the haters. This was on Cinema Blend a couple days ago. In the making of Alita, James Cameron made some bold moves, with one of the earliest concepts deciding that she would have big eyes, larger than a normal human's, a callback to the look of Alita in the manga. When the first trailer was released, there was a whole lot of commentary on social media about the eyes, and to put it politely, not a lot of it was super positive. I actually thought the eyes were super cool when I saw that first trailer, but with the movie still a year away from release, the reaction caused behind-the-scenes stir for the movie, leading to questions about what they should do. Two people who had never experienced any doubts, however, were Robert Rodriguez and James Cameron, who had a visual effects supervisor, Eric Sandon, had a very clear attitude toward the early negative response. Blank the haters. So that's James Cameron's response to those haters, and I'm wondering if he's thinking something similar right now because of the Oscar snub. Sandon was part of a group with the VFX animators, and they sat down with them to talk about these things. And here's what the VFX artist says. We had the original design all the way back to 2005. Once you build that, you put it next to a live action actor. They do have always a change a little bit. It does look a little strange. After the first trailer came out, everyone said, her eyes are pie-shaped, they're gigantic, blah, blah, blah. We went to Robert and we went to Jim and said, hey, we're getting this feedback. What are your thoughts? Both of them said, no, we want to go bigger on the eyes. Jim said, blank the haters, right? He said, we're going to go bigger on the eyes, and that's how we're going to do it. That's called sticking to your guns, ladies and gentlemen. And obviously, we know they didn't steer away from these foundation level ideas for the hero, and I'm glad they did, because the movie was better for it, and it was amazing. And I had a video on this a while back, looking at exactly what the changes were, where they made the eyes bigger. They actually made the dark part of the eye bigger to make it more realistic, which worked out really well. At the end of the day, they were both right. We didn't go that much bigger, but we went bigger on the iris, and we filled the space of the eyes a little bit, and it just popped her character life even more. Alita took a long time to get made, finished as one of the most impressive blockbuster efforts we saw on big screen last year, and hopefully we'll someday get a chance to revisit in a sequel. So thank you, Cinema Blend, for having a fair article and for not just jumping on the bandwagon like some of the other places. They were hoping that we would hear more about Alita during awards season, and I do think that, like I mentioned, the VES Awards, where Alita is nominated 5 times, it's probably going to win at least some of these Visual Effects Society awards, but what we really wanted was the Oscar, at least to be nominated, because they spent so much effort on this movie. Here's an article about the artist behind Alita looking at some naughty real-life dogs to bring the robots to life. This is from Sci-Fi, talking about how most of the articles look at Alita and Rosa Salazar, but there was a lot more behind it. Talking to Richard Bainham of the Lightstorm visual effects supervisor, saying that having Rosa on screen for every single shot for an hour and a half of screen time was very tough, but the value of having her on the screen was the single biggest thing they could possibly do technically. That said, in Iron City, they also had a lot of efforts looking at dogs, and for these sequences for McTeague's robot dogs, they actually drew upon all resources, including their own pets, with my cousin saying we brought in the animators' dogs. We did a couple sessions capturing dog performance. Eric Sandon again, one of the dogs is based on my dog, an Australian Shepherd, whose name is Banjo. She's not a good dog. What they did is they put the dogs in motion capture performance suits. We combined that with reference footage of police dogs jumping and attacking. These are just amazing. I mean, think about the effort they went through this movie to get it done. Richard Bainham says we're talking about capturing the kinematics, the skeleton, the specific skeletal makeup of the character, creature, or animal based on biomechanics. So they put so much effort in, and if you want to read the whole thing, go to Sci-Fi Wire and check it out, but I'm just giving you some of the highlights here. Talking about how the dogs were trained, real dogs were trained to attack Jackie, the actor who was playing Gruishka, because, quote, it gives you that true performance, and that was the big goal for this film. And they talk about Lucy, the one Rosa picks up and licks her face. That was a great moment, and I agree, this was just incredible. I mean, they had a live-action dog licking her face, and they were able to keep that actual interaction with Rosa, put it on Alita. You see the expression on her face when she gets licked by the dog. It was the same expression we got on Rosa. And I agree, this was totally one of the scenes that whenever I look back on the movie, I mean, it's so well done. You have a dog licking a CGI character, and the VFX are just perfect on it. So no disrespect to 1917, but cinematography, yes, that was fantastic. But VFX, no way. That was Alita's spot. And again, even this article talks about James Cameron's response with blank the haters, going bigger and wider. And they go in the story again of how that happened, finally saying that they get asked how much of Alita was Rosa, like how much did we take from Rosa as a live action element. And I don't think anyone realizes that really she is 100% digital the whole way through the film. I actually had some people in our group when we saw the movie for the first time who thought it was actually not a digital character, but it was an actual person, that Rosa was actually there, and they just made the eyes bigger. It was that well done. And I don't want to bash 1917, but when my friend saw it, the first thing he said when he came out of the film was like, hey, it's okay movie, but the visual effects sucked, especially at the fight scene at the end. So it's not good, and it doesn't make any sense that that movie got the nod over Alita. Sorry guys, I'm a little salty right now. Richard says we used 100% of Rosa's performance. Alita is 100% Rosa. So in any event, that's where we're at today. Alita is not going to the Oscars as a nominee, but Alita is going to the Oscars as a banner, at least the Alita sequel, and hopefully, we'll get some camera action looking up, and that would be great to get some screen time for it. The odds are probably not, so we need someone down there, and I'm sure we'll have plenty of people at the Oscars taking pictures of the banner so that we can share it with everyone. And we are continuing to fight for an Alita sequel because we do not stand by in the presence of evil, and we will continue to fight for Alita until we get that Alita sequel, because there's too many fans out there that are supporting this movie, and we will continue to support and fight. So you all have a great day. God bless. We'll talk to you soon. Doc out.